It's 2006. The month is September 18th. A sunny day, but not unusual for the state of San Diego, California. Before
we begin, I invoke thee and thank thee, Beyonce. Beyonce, with your permission, this video will proceed.
Okay, so I guess we got her permission. Anyway, another fan footage movie. I don't know what's up with all the fan footage movies recently, but it's like my favorite horror subgenre, so we're gonna recap another. This time, Paranormal Activity.
Dun, dun, dun.
So he pulls up our main lead, Katie, and her husband, Micah, and they're living in just like San Diego suburbia. Micah, or Mika, I'm not sure. I'm just gonna call him Micah for the foreseeable video because like I kept saying Micah throughout this entire like recording, and like, you know, I'm just not gonna with it because like it's whatever. Anyway, get this. So Micah decides to buy a new camera, and you're probably wondering like why. Well, we'll get into that. So like Micah buys this new camera, and like they're very hung up on the new camera, and Katie like remarks it is massive, and it's like a possible innuendo, but like we're not like filthy, so we'll just say it's not. Anyways, innuendo aside, Micah buys the camera, so like he says so they like they can record their lives and like look through their life from an outside lens. The irony is not lost on me. So they're both like very cheery and the mood is great. They're making dinner and recording their lives together. Although, while Katie does look pleased at the beginning with the camera, like it's pretty cool, you know, it's like a massive fucking camera. But like she suddenly just doesn't seem very pleased by the like camera and being around it. So it seems that they were like trying to catch something on camera, but it's unclear right now as of what it is that they want. Like that was the actual purpose of buying the camera, to actually catch whatever it is, but they haven't told us yet, and we're gonna find out. After a little like tete-a-tete, they decide to go upstairs and they're setting up the camera, and they're setting it up in the bedroom, and like this is pretty iconic because, you know, the whole Paranormal Activity, the front cover and everything is based on like the camera angle of the bedroom, so you'll probably have seen it anyway, but that's the way it's set up. Oh, I should have also mentioned, like, just before they do go upstairs, like, they do hear, like, a little sound while they're sat on the sofa, but they're not entirely sure what it is. It's not clear, and, like, I think they just brush it off because, like, you know, nothing's really happened, so it's whatever. But then they do go upstairs, following that, set up the camera, like I said, and then it's 2 a.m., and they're asleep now, so it's like 2 a.m. and it's the first night, and there are, like, sounds of, like, someone going up the stairs at night, but it's very brief and like very quick. And like, can I just say how eerie this is? Like, you can just see that damn door open. Like, why are you sleeping with the door open like that? Like, you can't get a good view of the like outside. Like, what the actual hell is wrong with you? Please, like, just close it. It's like awful. Like, oh my god. Like, I was just thinking about this when I was watching. Like, you have no view of that door frame or that doorway. You do not know what's there. Okay, and that's terrifying. But honestly, at the same point, like, it's like a great shot because your mind just like sort of focuses on like the emptiness of the hallway and nothing else, and it's really scary actually. So they wake up, as you do after you've slept, and next morning, you know, Katie goes downstairs and she finds that her keys are on the floor, and she's like 100% certain, okay, like she left them on the kitchen counter. And I wrote Mike for some reason. Mika. I might end up just calling him Mike as well. So just anyway, Mika is pretty passive about it. I mean, fair enough, you know. It's not like it's that suspicious. Like, she just went downstairs and saw like her keys on like the floor, but she was like certain. Like, she put them on the counter. Okay, she's not like tripping. She knows what she's saying. Mika don't believe her, but I digress. Skip to Katie now holding the camera, and like they decided to bring in a psychic on request of Katie. So I guess prior to the camera and stuff, they've already like experienced like supernatural things going on. And Katie gets into this a bit later, but we see that Mika just doesn't take it seriously because, like, he's taking the piss. He decides that, when the psychic does enter thy house, they want to play like some. He wants to play like some royalty-free version of the Exorcist music. That dun 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 dun, dun, that one, yeah. So the psychic enters the house. Sadly, the soundtrack doesn't play. I mean, thankfully. So the psychic eventually does arrive, and we get some backstory on like Katie during this part, like this excerpt, and it's pretty good, like way to just give information about Katie's upbringing. So, important information time. Remember this. Katie says she's been experiencing haunting, like something haunting her, since she was 8. And she was being haunted alongside her little sister at the time. Being haunted? Like, she was being, you know what I mean. So, she tells, like, how she'd wake up at midst the night and see, like, a shadowy figure at the foot of her bed, okay? And her sister also says she used to see it as well. So they both can see it, okay, whatever it is. It was only ever at the foot of Katie's bed, never her sister's. And this was in their first house. However, after 3 years, I don't know how long it was. So they were 8, being haunted. The house eventually just sets on fire. All their possessions are just burnt. But, like, the family was fine, thankfully. Anyway, that was just some information on Katie. So, in terms of the current present time hauntings, Katie says, like, they hear numerous things in the house. Or while she's talking to the psychic about this, she says, like, she hears scratching and, like, a water faucet's going off. And then she says, like, she hears, like, a whispering. And sometimes it calls her name, but, like, Mika never hears that. Like, he does not hear the name being called. He just, like, hears these, like, odd noises. Anyway, she's unraveling all this to the psychic. So he does this consultation, the psychic, and he's like, he thinks it's a demon, basically. And he starts explaining the difference between a ghost and a demon. Anyway, unfortunately for Katie, this psychic only specializes in ghosts because, like, he has a degree in, like, Casperology or something. So he basically says he's too batshit scared to do anything about the house. But, like, he refers them to someone else because, like, why put yourself in harm's way? Anyway, Mika then suggests, like, they should, like, play with an Ouija board. And, like, they should just talk to the demon, like, see what he wants, on, like, a one-to-one level. Because, like, we need to know. And the psychic says, do not do that. Because, like, you'd be inviting the demon in and then you're, like, basically. So after this, like, the psychic guy leaves, I guess. Like, he's giving them the number to some, like, a demonologist. And then Mika is, like, just begging, like, Katie to not call the demonologist. And it's really weird. And it's unclear why. I think it becomes a bit clear later. But he's very, like, this controlling person, Mika. He wants to be, like, the one to fix everything. So he's, like, just begging, please don't call the guy. Please don't call the guy. And then Mika's, like, literally just such a weirdo for this. Like, shut the please, I beg. Actually, before we go into night 2, I'll give some, like, backstory, like, some character lore to Katie and Micah. So Katie's, like, a student. That's her, like, position. So she doesn't own the house. I think it belongs to Mika, the house, and he's a day trader. He's the one earning money or whatever. So, there's that as well. I don't actually know what a day trader. I'm really dumb, but, like. And something else the psychic mentions, he mentions that whatever this is haunting them, it's attached to Katie. Like, it doesn't matter if they move house, where they go, she can't go anywhere. It'll just come wherever they go. I'm just such a child. Anyway, turning in for night 2 now. And after some spicy time, they go to bed. And it's like 2 a.m. again where weird stuff is happening. This time, we hear footsteps again. But also the door has started to, like, just slowly open and close. Like, it's not that noticeable, but it's obvious it's happening. Anyway, they wake up and check the recording and they see the door moving. And then suddenly, like, Katie just screams in a panic. And we don't know what's happening. Because, like, Mika's in one room and then Katie's, like, in the toilet. And she's, like, screaming, like, oh my God, what's happening? Like, is the demon there? So Mika goes up to Katie and then it turns out, like, it was a spider. And, well, honestly, like, it's completely, like, a justifiable reaction. Like, I think I'd rather just see the demon than the spider, if I'm being honest, especially in the toilet. Like, poor Katie just wants to take a dump and, like, there's this 8-legged freak in there. So that happens. But other than that, Nothing else really happens on day 2. Also, I think I'm probably getting the days mixed up. Like, I did try to like fact check like which day was which, but I think a couple days like I've got mixed up again, like I did with Blair Witch Project. Like, oh, anyway, it's a bit of a mess, but you'll get the events anyway. And they go to bed, and then they're deciding like whether they think it's a ghost or a demon. From what they've experienced, the psychics told them one thing, but they're just discussing it between themselves, like pillow talk, by saying. So based on what's happened, I think they both say like they're inclined to believe it's a demon, and I would agree, to be honest. Micah is then like, oh, Mika is then like looking through a book, and when I saw this, I was like, well, it was a book like of like demons. It's like each page was a different demon, and I'm not sure what it's called. I couldn't find out. Like, I don't think I could see it, but it kind of reminds me of the Lesser Key of Solomon, which in short is like a grimoire that like classifies demons and like provides detailed descriptions of them without giving like too much depth about it. Like a brief, very small summary. That's basically what it is. But it's obviously not that, but it just like made me think of it, and it was like very interesting anyway, I thought. But also it kind of lets us infer like, Micah is like almost trying to engage with like this supernatural and make sense of it, and it's kind of nice, that element, I guess. As the story continues, we see more of their relationship, and Mika thinks like, well, he has a say in what they do. He apparently thinks that because Katie didn't tell him like when they were first dating, like that she was being haunted, that it's unfair on him, and this gives him authority and the yes and no's on everything, which is incredibly toxic. But Katie says like it's not an easy thing to bring up, especially like on a first day. Like, how are you meant to bring up like you were haunted as a child, And like, it's not like, good lord, like can this demon just like kill Meek already? Because like honestly, I'm just already sick of his shit, and it's not even like, it's like what, 20 minutes into the movie or something. Like, I've had enough with him already. Anyway, they go back to turn him for bed, and this time it's night 5, so we've skipped I think a couple of days. And this does happen quite frequently in the movie. Like, it's not like you'll just randomly see massive gaps of days. Katie wakes up in a panic at like 2:55 a.m. and then a couple seconds later, I think while she's awake, there's like a loud bang just erupting from downstairs, and then they both like just run down in a panic in the middle of the night. But nothing like really comes from this, and I think they just like end up going back to bed. So we go to the next day, and Mika's like, got his little camera, whatever, doing his little vlogs. He goes down the stairs and he sees like Katie and her friend like making like beads, like friendship bracelets or whatever. It looked really fun, actually. Like, I kind of want to do that now. But he interrupts them anyway with some boring information. These girlies were just like making bracelets for each other, and then he interrupts them to show like an audio recording 10 seconds before they woke up, like in the middle of the night when they woke up to the sound. And on like the recording that Mika has, it's like this like almost like demonic sound. You still can't really make out what it is though. And Mika's also unsure what it is, and he thinks it's like, now he keeps suggesting it's another good idea to get on a Ouija board for some reason, despite what the psychic said and despite just like common sense. Anyway, he's wrestling with Katie on this back and forth, and he finally just says, okay, he promises that like he won't buy one. We all know he's going to buy one. And then he's like trying to antagonize the demon before night. So they go up to bed, again. After this day, like not much happens after the beads and the beads and like the audio recording. They both go upstairs, and then he's like trying to antagonize the demon. He's like screaming down the staircase like a pussy while he's at the top, like, oh, demon, like, like being mean to the demon. Like, I can't remember exactly what he says, but he's just an ass. Anyway, he's just like screaming down the staircase, and honestly, I think they should just like rename this movie to be like Paranormal Tech Bro instead, because like he just seems to go out of his way to be a knob to the demon, so much so like I'm more antagonized by him than the demon at this point. At this point, like, Katie should have just chosen the bear, like, if I'm being real with you. So possibly night 6, I don't know, it might have been night 8. So it's 3:14 a.m. this time, and it gets more late each day, the hauntings. So Katie says she hears a thud, And Mika also like wakes up to Katie ruffling in a bed. Like she's just like, so I think Katie like hears something and then Mika wakes up from that. And a minute later, I think they're both awake and it's just loud. Like even like it's even more loud like the previous days. And it's just like a loud bang and like then a demonic sound and a thud and like they both run downstairs again. And they both start exploring the downstairs in the middle of the night trying to see what it was. And it's really creepy the way it's filmed. So they go back up and this is so it was 3:14 a.m. Now they go upstairs and it's 3:25 a.m. And the same night they then hear footsteps trotting up and down the staircase and then the night just ends. So they both wake up and Mika is just like really glad like he got to see more of the action of like the demon and the haunting. And honestly like Katie is terrified. Like she's like scared shitless and she's just like exhausted. But Mika's like enjoying it, I guess. Like they're constantly just like the flip side of each other. And then Mika starts doing some dumb Mika shit where he's like pretending to be like a paranormal investigator and he's holding his mic out like an EMF or whatever and seeing if he can like gather any more odd audios whilst pestering the demon about stupid crap like some really shitty like BuzzFeed Q&A or something. Like, you are not Lorraine and you are not Ed. You do not provide any sort of like personality like that those people have. Do you know what I mean? Like, there is no elements of you or attributes to you, Mika, that could ever make me even think that you possess Lorraine level of like demonologying or demon hunting. So like just back the fuck up, please. Night 15 now. It's 1:36 a.m. Katie wakes up in the middle of the night and then just like begins to not sleepwalk because she doesn't walk. She just like stands. So sleep standing. Sleep stands on the side of the bed for about 2 hours. Just under. Because the timestamp at the bottom then shows it's like 3:30 a.m. And then she just like walks out into the hallway. God knows where she's gone. Mika then wakes up and he's looking for Katie like downstairs, everywhere, but he can't seem to find her. He's downstairs now and he's searching for her. He's like calling her name. And as he's traversing the house, he notices like the garden's back doors are open. So he goes through it, as you do with the door, and he finds Katie and she's just sleeping on a swinging chair in the back garden. Mika then, like, they talk, like, he's like, what are you doing out here, Katie, you know? And then Mika's just, like, says he's, like, gonna go grab some blankets. I don't know why I said that, like, so, like, mysteriously, but Mika says, like, he's gonna go grab some blankets and, like, stay with her outside. And honestly, that's probably the least crappy thing he's done this entire movie. Like, it's actually, like, a plus for him. So, like, you know, character development, question mark? So he's like searching for the blankets and I don't know why it's taking him so long, but he hears like a loud bang upstairs from the bedroom. Neither of them are present in the bedroom, but they hear the sound coming from the bedroom. So he walks upstairs while he was like looking for blankets and he's back into the bedroom. Then we have him like pan around with the camera and like we find Kay also back upstairs and like it was like supposed to be like a cheap jump scare because like he turns the camera around, she just appears and then she just like folds back onto bed and she can't remember anything about being outside. She just knocks out. Almost like she like just did like a 9 to 9 or something and like she knocked out. Like we never see her. Like the morning arrives again, unfortunately, and Katie says she has no recollection of what happened last night at all. Like she cannot remember anything. So it must be about 7:34 p.m. now. And Mika, guess what he did? You'll never guess. The least Mika thing possible. He whips out on a Ouija board. And he specifies to Katie, my poor little Katie, that he wouldn't buy a Ouija board, but apparently he borrowed it. And I'm using air quotes for the word buy and borrowed. Quite frankly, it looks like a very new Ouija board as well, I'd like to mention. I don't know who just lets you borrow new things, but okay, go off, I guess. Anyway, he buys this borrowed whatever the Katie's having a full on panic, like a normal person would be. And then like she's just like full on panic, and then she just leaves the house, and Mika follows her out. Anyway, Mika then like just follows her out the door, and the camera just focuses on the Ouija board. So it's really creepy. Also, I just want to mention something. If someone is that like specific about their wording in a relationship, that is so toxic. Like the red flags coming out of Mika's fucking holes right now. Oh, he looks like a ship at this point in like Pirates of the Caribbean or like Pirates of the Paranormal Activity, and because like what the actual hell is going on. The most scary thing about this movie is their relationship, not the demon. So we go back to the camera, and the Ouija board is just like the central focus of the camera. And then we hear footsteps coming from behind the camera. It's super weird. Like, especially if you got headphones on or whatever, it just sounds like extra creepy. Because like you can just hear them like come behind you. And then of course like the Ouija board just starts to move itself, and we see like some plants around the Ouija board move, and then it just like sets on fire. Yeah. It just sets on fire somehow by the demon, I'm guessing. And then it's still on the recording, so we're still looking at the Ouija board, and in the timestamp below it skips to 4 hours later, and it's 11 p.m. At 11 p.m, Mika and Katie come back, and they find that the Ouija board has inscriptions on it now. Like, it looks like someone scratched things into it. Katie does not care, and rightly so. Like, I'm guessing she's still pissed off at Mika. Like, I don't know where they went or what they discussed during that time they left the house for 4 hours, but she's definitely still pissed off. And she doesn't care. She's so angry. She's not paying attention to what the Ouija board is. And for once, I'm kind of like, go, just look, you know? But also, I get it. And I am extremely behind her on this, but like, Mika is just an ass anyway. And at this point, the toxicity of Mika is just like overshadowing the demon, like I said before, because you see, the thing is with the relationship, it's like grounded more in reality, whereas the demons, you know, still supernatural and that shit. So yeah, like at least like, you know, the relationship is grounded in reality, but the demon is not. So when shit is happening for the relationship, it's so much more believable, and it just makes it that much more annoying. Anyway, Mika's like finally proving his use, and he basically strings a bunch of letters together from the Ouija board the next morning, and he thinks like he makes like a list of different names that it could be, and one of them that comes up is Diane, and I think the other one was like Edna, but I might be wrong. And Katie says like she doesn't care, like she just wants it gone. But honestly, Katie like, but one, I think she like should just like hear Mika out. I know he did the Ouija board and fucked up it, but like something is happening here, you know. So there's definitely like a communication thing here. Obviously, like it makes the movie more interesting by doing this. Mika decides that he's come up with like this clever idea. And what is this clever idea, you ask? Wow. Mika decides that he wants to try a powder trick. What's a powder trick? Well, basically, he's going to put powder all around the house and outside the door of the bedroom. And his plan is basically to capture the demon's footprints. In response to this, what does Katie say? Well, she basically says if it doesn't work, then they call in the demonologist. Like, she's had enough. And I'm wondering why it's taken them this long to call the demonologist. Like, surely just call him, even if you're not busy the current day. Obviously, like, he'll consult you like a couple of days later. Just call him anyway, just for availability, you know? So I don't know why they've still not called him, but I'm just going to blame Mika again, because it does seem to be his fault at this point. Like, everything. Mika feels like he can fix it again. This is like toxic masculinity bullshit, where he thinks he can fix it all. So he doesn't want her to call the demonologist, because then he feels like, you know, inadequate, I guess. Which he is, sort of. That's largely why they don't call the demonologist. And he says he's going to fix it, you know, he's going to fix the supernatural problem. He's Bob the motherfucking Builder. But you're not going to do shit. Let's be real, Mika. You're not going to do shit. So they put a bunch of I wrote in my notes, I wrote class A powder around the house, but I just read over it and it's really just like not like that funny. So I've just said it now, but like, you know, it's there, so whatever. It's out there now. So night 17 rolls around, 3:15 a.m. And they hear downstairs more sounds. They hear downstairs more sounds. Wow. And they hear more sounds downstairs again. So then they wake up. Micah's plan actually worked. They see footprints in the powder. So his plan did work. And the only thing is that they notice is that the footprints come into the bedroom, but they don't leave the bedroom. So that fucking demon is somewhere in there with them still. But I don't know what happens. I think like the demon does leave, and because they see more footprints. Is it leading out or leading in? I'll have to check over again, but basically it's leading them to like the attic hatch. And Katie's like, can we not follow the footprints? You know, because this demon might have just set a trap. And she is so smart. Like, I didn't actually think about this. Like, my survivability is like probably 0 in this movie because she's actually quite smart for that. That was quite like a witty sort of like thought process. Like, it is probably a trap, you know, it's leading them to where it wants to go. But Mika being Mika, like, he does not care. Okay, the demon could be in front of invisible, like, he does not care. Okay, he's not threatened by the demon, and it's quite interesting actually, and that's a whole other topic. But Katie is panicked, as he should be, like a normal person. And then so Mika decides to follow the footsteps, and they see like the hatch is open to the attic. Now here's the thing, Mika says he never opened the hatch, and then he asks Kate if she opened the hatch. And she says she didn't open the hatch. So, you know, only one thing could have opened it. So, what does Mika decide to do? He decides to get a ladder. And then he goes and takes a peek into the suspiciously open attic hatch. Now, this next little bit I really do like. So, Mika's body's like halfway up into the attic, okay? And the thing I love about this movie is its detail to making things seem scary. Like how a person would react if they were in that situation. So Mika's top half is in the like attic, and he's got the camera with him. He can't see anything below him while he's on the ladder. And Katie's just standing directly under him behind, like on the ladder. Now Katie says she's like terrified because she's basically all alone. And while Mika's halfway up the attic, he can't see anything that's going down. And I don't know why I picked up on it, but I just thought that was so fabulous. Like, you would be terrified. Like, that demon's still lurking up there somewhere, and now Mika can't like look down and see if something happens, or it would take him some time. But those subtle details I just love. I really love it in this movie. And then Mika does actually find something in the attic. So he's got the camera up there, he's looking through the lens, but he sees like a weird paper or something, and he picks it up, and then he goes back down to the ladder again. And he says like, what he found to Katie or whatever, look what I found. And then it's a picture. And what's so strange about that, you know? It's just a picture. It could be a picture of anything. Well, here's the thing. And the reason why Katie is like horrified, because tis a photo of their old house. Now, do you remember earlier when I said Katie's house was completely burned, including all their possessions? You know what's weird? This photo belonged to that house. The photo does actually have burn marks on it, which means someone took this specific photo of Katie when she was 8 years old that was all burnt and supposed to have been destroyed, and put it in the top of the attic. And Katie just doesn't understand how it ended up there. She has not seen this photo in 15 years. But, you know, Katie is now just like visibly shaken. And she's like, right, that's it. We're calling the demonologist now. And his name's Dr. Avery, I think. Anyway, they're calling him. Finally. Took them long enough, no. Anyway, I still don't understand Mika's reluctancy. Like, he keeps saying that he's in control and that the powder worked. But Katie is a lot smarter. Like, whilst Mika sees things on, like, the preface, like, he just sees it at face level, Katie's a lot smarter. And she says, like, everything that has happened here in this house is likely because, like, the demon wanted it to happen, okay? It can hear and it can see everything they're doing. And she's like, don't you think, like, if it wanted to, like, you know, make us do something, it would? Like, clock him. Clock him. Like, my God, like, I was just, like, taken aback because, like, she's just, like, her survivability is, like, actually really, really good. Like, I don't know how else to put it. Anyway, thanks to Mika for waiting for so long. You'll never guess what happened. So, Dr. Aries is actually out of the country, or whatever excuse he has, and he's no longer available. How fun's that? Yeah, they've got no demonologist anymore. Yeah. So, I think they decided to call the old psychic back again. Oh, I think it's another one. I think I made an error. I can't remember. Obviously, I only blame one person for this, and their name is spelled as so: M to the I to the C to the A to the H. And this just this toxic bullshit where he just like thinks he can control the demon or whatever and just like fix everything. And it honestly, it just pisses me off so much. Like, it's the most annoying thing in this movie. Like, his behavior to Katie, the demon, is just so awful. Everything. He's so toxic. Actually, so toxic. And this
Thing where he thinks he's like Ed Warren, but like I dare not even call him Ed Warren from Wish because that would imply like he even resembles Ed Warren in like stature, in the slightest way, but he does not. He's not even one of the letters in Ed Warren. Like, he's just dog shit, you know?
It's night 18 and the lights just seem to like flicker on and off for the first time. This actually hasn't happened before. They've had like doors and stuff, but nothing else has happened. And then the door just slams. Before, the door also just opened gently or closed gently. Like, it was pretty respectful, but it just slams. And the bang, it just like, I think it's the banging downstairs. It just becomes to like get extremely loud. Like, more so than previous nights. Like, it's just like increased tenfold. So Mika goes out there to check on the door. Check on the door? Yeah, sure. Check like on the outside and see what's going on. And honestly, I don't care if he dies. So, you know, he just got it where you want, Mika. Because honestly, Katie would literally be better off with the demon at this point. Let's be real, okay? So Mika walks out of the bedroom. Katie decides, you know, I don't want to be alone. I don't want to be alone in the fucking bedroom with a demon. So she walks out with him. And now they're like on the top floor still, but they're like near the banister. And then the door just slams again. And they're like locked out of their bedroom. Katie is now just like, if she wasn't panicked before, I don't even know what this is at this point. Like, she is just terrified. Absolutely terrified. And her acting is amazing. Like, oh, like it's really, really good. So the events of this night, lights flickering, getting locked out of their bedroom, door slamming, louder bangs, and yeah, the night comes to an end. So I think like it's like midday after night 18. Like, I don't think it shows the morning, but it's about midday, and then they hear like a loud bang. Again, there's a lot of like banging. Like, this demon is into banging. Like, I mean, you do you, I guess, but it turns out like a picture of them is like cracked. They hear the banging and they both proceed upstairs. This is the first time, by the way, like supernatural crap has happened during the day. And the picture is cracked specifically on Mika's face. Like, the demon definitely like has an attachment to Katie. That's clear for sure. Like, the demon gets it. And like, the demon's also saying like, drop the toxic finance, bro, and like riz me up, you know, like, yeah. The ghost got that supernatural riz. Yeah. Anyway, what happens is they both just like stood like next to the frame and they're just like investigating it. And then Katie's like, I can hear, like, I can feel breathing on me. Like, she senses like literal breathing on her, and she's just like locked in, like full panic. She just blitzes it downstairs. And then Mika is just like, he's like taken aback firstly, and then secondly he's like, oh wait, you know what? You know what I'll do? You know where Katie, my girlfriend, said like, oh, I can feel breathing on me from like this supernatural demon. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go play Where's Wally real quick, and I'm going to go look for the demon. So what he does is he walks over to where Katie was moments ago before she dashed away. And then he like proceeds to go into the bathroom, and I don't know what his thought process here was, because like he thinks the demon's like behind the shower curtain. Like, he just rips it back as if he was going to see the demon. Like, I'm just imagining what he probably thought he was going to see, like the demon like taking a shower like in the bath, or like, and I don't know also why he suddenly thought he would be able to see it, you know. So anyway, he's a bit thick, but yeah. Again, this is the first time it's happened during midday, so it's getting noticeably worse, the haunting. And nothing else comes from Mika doing Mika things. So, later that day, the psychic guy comes, and instantly, he just panicked. My guy literally walked into the door. I was like, not today. Not today, Satan. He basically just rants. He's like, I don't want to be here. Okay, I don't want to be seen here. I just need to go. I need to go. And Kate's like, why? And he's like, the demon is getting like more aggressive. and aggravated whilst I'm here. Like he senses it in the air. He says like he just needs to leave right now, and that Dr. Avery's will be back in a few days. So Dr. Avery's was the original demonologist. This is another guy, I guess, then. And he's like, yeah, I can't do anything. I'm so sorry. I need to leave. So he just leaves. And honestly, like, he's just useless. Like, absolutely useless. He did not even get through the doorway, okay? Like, oh, anyway. But at the same time, like, you wouldn't want to fight off a demon if you knew you couldn't. Mika. So obviously, Katie's like extremely upset now and crying at night because no one will help her. And we roll into night 19 and it's 1:34 a.m. and the bedsheet just lifts up like something is like crawling in there, what I thought originally. Like I thought someone was crawling in bed with them. But I later realized this is actually like from the Scary Movie. Oh god. Anyway, I won't get into that one, but Katie's foot just begins to start twitching and then it skips to like an hour later at 3 a.m. and the lights are like turning on and off again in the hallway. Katie wakes up and she feels the demon breathing right next to her and she like just like screams. I think not screams, but like she just like starts ruffling and like panicking, and then Mika wakes up and he goes to detect. Again, not much comes off night 19. Like that's all the events of night 19, and then once again they wake up and they try to figure out what to do. It's early next morning, and then they find a woman called Diane online. And you know what's weird? Mika was onto something. Like, so I'll get into it, but basically this woman, Diane, she's basically going through everything that Katie was going through, basically. But hers was in the 60s. And yeah, what was weird is Mika found this name out, Diane, and it was the same name that was scribbled onto the Ouija board. So I'm not entirely sure, like, it just got me thinking a bit, because was the person they were talking to in the Ouija board, like, the demon, or was it like a different spirit trying to help them and like, okay, search this person up? That's what I was trying to wonder, like, but I never really explains that. That was just like a theory I had. Like I feel like it's a different demon and I scratched the name for them to like go look for that name. It then just like skips to Kay studying. I've never seen her study actually this entire movie, which is quite interesting. So she's just studying, and then Mika's got like his camera in Katie's face again. It's like in the Blair Witch Project. You know when Heather just like kept putting like the camera in their faces, and Mike and was it Josh? Yeah, Josh. They just get so angry. Like honestly, like having a camera shoved in your face is just annoying. You don't just want a fucking camera in your face all the time. And he's just basically got the camera in Katie's face and he's like trying to say, "Oh, I'm just trying to fix it all. Like all of it's like your problems, Katie, okay? I'm just here to help and just try to fix them, okay? That's all I'm doing." And it's just really, really manipulative. Like, it's actually disgusting. So it's 4:31 now, 4:31 a.m., night 20. And this night is very wild. So for the first time, the demon, like, physically sort of like affects them directly. So the demon basically grabs Katie. I was assumed the demon. I don't know what else it would be. Anyway, it grabs Katie and just drags her out of bed. The pillows, like the bed sheets lift slightly, and then she just gets yanked out of bed. And she's screaming. And she's just hurled all the way down to the hallway. And then Mika just like gets up real quick and he sees her like being dragged off, no idea by what. And then he's like trying to reel her back like a bloody fish or something. So he's like grabbing her and like trying to drag her. That's it. Like there's a lot of like gaps. There's a lot of like gaps in between like what things happen, especially during the events of the night. Like it just goes straight to morning. I don't know if there's something in that, but anyway, it probably just adds to like this. I guess it's just like efficiency of the movie and cutting it down, then having them go through the rest of the hours of the night. But anyway, they wake up the next morning and they're like, okay, we're just gonna get out of here. Like, we're not staying here anymore, okay? This shit's done. And even though like the psychic said like, it's attached to Katie, they were just like, yeah, no. So they're planning to leave to a hotel, and Katie's like in physical pain, and I think she's like wincing at like something on her back. And Mika goes over to look, and like there's a bite mark on Katie's like hip, and it's like got actual like teeth, like it's an actual bite mark, and it's quite sore. But anyway, there's not much they can do about it. So they pack up Well, I think Mika packs up, and then they're all ready to go and everything. And Mika's just looking for Katie, but Katie's like in this really like delirious sort of sedative like state, and she's just holding onto like a small cross in her like her left hand. She's holding onto it so tightly that her palms just start to bleed. And Mika says like, "Okay, I'm taking care of it right now," and he just starts like burning the cross in the fireplace, and I can't make sense of this. Like, for whatever reason, like, what is this achieving? Like, what? Like, why burn the cross? He specifically goes out of his way to throw the cross into the campfire. The fireplace. I don't understand why. Like, he doesn't even like tend to like Katie's wound first. He just throws a fucking cross in the fireplace. Like, you'd think, right? If demons exist, right, in this universe, then surely like religious iconography like would also play like a huge part in working against it, right? Like, it just seems like, you know, you can't have one without the other. But Kay is then just like walks back upstairs into the bedroom again. But they were just about to like go to the hotel. Like, they were just about to leave, and then she just goes back up to the bedroom. Like, she's messed up. And then she's just like crawling back into bed, and she's like, Mika, can we like just stay here, please? I don't want to go anywhere tonight. Like, can we just stay here? I don't think Mika could do much. Like, he just like, all right, whatever. Like, just stay then, I guess. Like, she just knocks out. And then she's like just smiling while she goes to sleep. It's really creepy. So it's 9:21 now, and it's 1:27 a.m. Katie's like just stood again, like the previous night, like on the side of the bed, and then the bed sheet just randomly comes off. So Mika's the only one in bed right now, and Katie stood up, and then the bed sheet just randomly comes off. Katie just like, and then Katie just like walks around to Mika's side of the bed and just stands over him for 2.5 hours, and then Katie just walks out. Like, she just walks out after 2.5 hours of standing next to Mika's bed while he's asleep. And she just walks out into the hallway. And then she's just like screaming like bloody murder, like so incredibly loud. Like, Mika, 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 Mika. She's just screaming. And then we hear like a banging. And then like she's screaming. And then Mika like obviously wakes up. And he runs down. Like, he rushes down. And then suddenly like we just hear banging as Mika's like outside now in the hallway. We don't see anything else. Like, we can't see either of them. They're in the hallway somewhere, I think, or downstairs. And then we hear banging and then just silence. And then footsteps slowly ascend towards the bedroom. And then Mika's just like flung out of nowhere into the camera with Katie stood over him at the top of the stairs. She's like, then she just crawls over to him and she starts smelling him like an animal. And then she just like slowly looks up and then crawls towards the camera like a freak. And then like the ending shot is just like her face, and it just like morphs into like something slightly demonic while she's screaming at it. And then like that's it. And then at the end it just says like Mika's body is then like discovered on October 11th, 2006, and like Katie just went missing. Like, they couldn't find her. Wow, this one was a lot longer than the other ones, but that now was Paranormal Activity. Wow, my throat actually hurts from all that talking. Like, I usually have like a script, but I usually just go off like script half the time when I want to talk about summer. But my throat actually hurts now. I should have done this in like different like short slots or whatever. But it's really long now. I didn't want it to be this long because like it's supposed to be like a recap. They should be a lot shorter than the movies. At this point, it's like 40 minutes behind the actual movie. Like, you might as well just go watch that. Anyway, but like, you don't get like my perspective on things, okay? So anyway, Paranormal Activity is like such an interesting movie. Yeah, it's interesting because while I won't touch upon like the statistics of its box office release as such, because everyone knows like it made one of the biggest profits in horror movie history, if not history, like movie history period. It was really cheap to make, so that they made high profits, obviously high profit margins in the box office. And while Paranormal Activity does really well at showcasing like the supernatural elements, it does really amazingly. And I think the best part for me is like how it characterizes and like gives life to Mika and Katie's relationship. And it feels so real and relatable at times. Like, bar the demon haunting, but each to their own, you know. At times it does do it a little too well, I think. Whereas, like, as a viewer, like, I'm antagonized by Mika's presence more so than the demons, more like throughout the movie. Like if we had to compare like 80% of the movie, I was just pissed off at Mika, okay, not the demon. I think it just comes largely in part to the fact that one is visible while the other's invisible. Like Mika's like a visible character, like you can be angry at him easily. But like the demon's just there and about, but you can't really like it'd never do as well antagonizing a demon just because like, it's invisible. You can't really see this one. But Mika shines because he's really well written. He's just an ass. And he's not a good person, to be honest. And he's a terrible partner to Katie. Like, to the point where, yeah, like the shadows, to the point where like his toxic behavior shadows like the supernatural elements. And then the focus sort of like shifts to the toxic relationship. But I think what makes it great, because the movie's great at like, what I think this movie does really great at is like, it distracts you with like the relationship problems, right? But then it'll have some sort of horror stem from it. Like Katie and Michael will be fighting and then suddenly like something breaks. Or then they like hear a sound and it breaks up the argument for them. And without like turning it into a video essay, I really just like love this fan footage movie. And I particularly love Paranormal Activities, the marked ones also, which is another personal favorite. So I might do a video on that one too. I wanted to do other genres, but I've just like really just fell in love with doing the fan footage ones for now, especially since it's like Halloween. Anyway, see you next time. Lots of love.